Good morning, Coach Withers.
Good morning.
Thank you very much for joining us today. Everyone on the call, we are joined with Head Coach Everett Withers of Texas State University. As a reminder to everyone on the call, if you have a question for any of our coaches, please press star one on your telephone's keypad. Again, you can press star one on your telephone's keypad this time to get in the queue to ask questions for Head Coach Everett Withers. Texas State is coming off of a 56-54 win in triple overtime against Ohio of the Mid-American Conference. This week, the Bobcats have a bye week this week. They are back in action on September 17th at Arkansas. That game will kick off at 6:30 p.m. Central Time and will be televised on the SEC Network and the Watch ESPN app. Coach, before we get to any questions, can you give us your thoughts on last week's win?
Well, yeah, thank you. I thought our kids battled. Obviously, when you play 3 overtimes in your first ball game of your season, and you go on the road and you play a very, very talented team that Ohio is and will be as the season continues, you're very fortunate to come out and come out with a victory, and we're excited, obviously, about the victory. We got a lot of things to clean up. We're not a very good team right now, but we did some things that were real important for us in the growth of our program. We played with a lot of relentless effort, and guys, I think, played, for the most part, a disciplined ball game and a focused ball game and a tough ball game. So those are the things that we wanted to evaluate our team, and I felt like we got some things that we can check off. We got to continue to grow and get better as a football team, but it's always to be able to work. If you can work on things after a victory, boy, it's really important to be able to do that.
Thanks, Coach. And real quick, before any questions, what's the plan for the upcoming bye week?
Well, we've talked about it since the schedule came out, how we were going to use really the first 3 to 4 weeks of our season, and really we're going to go back and get back into training camp mode. We're going to go back and work on a lot of fundamentals. We're going to have some padded practices this week. We're going to work on, we got to get better in our both our offensive and defensive lines, doing some things. So we got to have some physical practices, and then, toward the latter part of the week, Thursday or so, we'll start working a little bit on Arkansas. But we have to worry about us, get better as a football team, and some of the things we do offensively, defensively, and special teams. So we're going to really treat it as a week to try to get better fundamentally.
Thank you, Coach. As a reminder, please press star one on your telephone's keypad to get in the queue to ask questions. Our first questions come from John Whistler with the San Antonio Express.
Coach, congratulations on the win. I just wondered what that win meant for you and also the school.
Well,
that.
Go ahead. Well, for me and our staff, I think it's a validation, hopefully, for our plan and our path of what we envisioned when we had our first team meeting on January the 19th, how we were going to go about building a program. And sometimes in building a program, you gotta blow it up and start it over, and that's what we felt like we had to do. We played 19 guys that played their first ball game ever in college football on Saturday. We played 10 true freshmen in the ball game. So we got a very, very young team. And I look at that, and I look at, we had 6 penalties for 55 yards, and our opponent had 13 for 141. So we did some things that hopefully we can say are good. And I think that, that helps us move forward in our program. I think for the school, it's just, hopefully people understand what our plan and our culture and what our path is, and how we want to go build this thing and how we want to go grow Texas State football.
One more thing. Have you ever been involved in a game like that before?
Yeah, I think I've been involved in overtime games before. And, it's about who's going to stay relentless and who's going to stay focused. I felt like our kids did. And, again, I think that was a great opportunity for us and our fans and people that watch that game to see how far. I've had so many people tell me that there's no way that Texas State would have stayed and fought for that long in a ball game like that. They would have folded in overtime. Well, I don't know the history in that way. All I know is what we've been doing since January the 19th, and I've seen the growth of this football program and the players that are in it right now that want to fight and want to try to win. So it was a positive for us.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
Thank you, John. Our next questions will come from Kev from the Austin American-Statesman. Kev, I apologize. I don't want to say your last name and mess it up.
Oh, no problem. It's pronounced Chardello.
Thank you.
Coach, you've made it known that 90 plays a game is what you want. You got 88 in 4 quarters, 98 after OT. Did you expect to be this efficient so fast?
Well, Kev, to be honest with you, I don't know how efficient we were. We weren't very good in the first quarter offensively, and really didn't get it going until late in the first half. We had to kind of find our way. They're a very good front seven. They didn't allow us to run the ball the way we wanted to do it early in the ball game. So we had to find, another mode of how we were going to move the ball and get our tempo going. But I thought our offensive staff did an unbelievable job of finding something. There's one great thing when you have this kind of offense. If you can go fast and you can find answers, you can score points and move the ball. We were able to do that in the second half. We're still learning. Our offensive line is still learning on how to go with tempo. Tempo is such a great equalizer, and we're not there yet. We're not there. We're not very good on offense yet, but we will be out. I think as the season goes on.
Great. Coach, you've also discussed a culture change, trying to change the culture in this entire program. How far does a win like this go in doing that?
Well, hopefully, it's a validation for our kids to say, man, we've worked our tails off since, January the 19th, January the 20th, and this was a result of all that hard work. Now, it's just a start. It's not the end product. It's a start, and we've got to, keep pushing our kids. This is going to be a very tough week of practice for our players, and I want them to understand why, because we're not there yet. This is just the start. We beat a very good football team, in my opinion. But now how do we get better? How do we get better? Not worrying about opponents, but we get better. But I think it's a great start to showing some validation to our culture change.
Having such a young team and then also having a week off right now, how do you keep the young guys kind of motivated for Arkansas? What goes into that?
Well, we won't talk a bit about Arkansas. We're going to talk about the things we got to correct from what we did Saturday. Again, I go back to the old saying, if you don't study his history, you're doomed to repeat it. So we had some things we got to study and get better at, so we don't repeat it when we play our next opponent. So we got to go back and fix a lot of things. So that's going to get them motivated, because they're going to be coaches climbing up and down guys this week in practice by getting things fixed and attention to detail. So. We've got basically about a 36-hour rule around here to enjoy a victory, and then it's back on to getting better. And our kids are going to see that today when we meet here in about 15 minutes.
Great. Thank you, Coach. Congratulations on the win.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Kev. And thank you, Coach Withers. That's all the time we have for you today. We appreciate your time.
All right. Thanks, guys.
Thank you. As a reminder, for Texas State, they have an upcoming bye week before they travel to Arkansas on September 17th for a 6:30 p.m. Central Time kickoff against the Razorbacks. That game will be televised on the SEC Network and available on the Watch ESPN app.